be starting up. So what are we going to see as that first item?
I'm gonna say high jump boots in the ceiling.
Ooh,
What are you
that's a
thinking?
Hajibutsu ceiling is always a fun one. This item would help you get this much quicker, but hey, we're gonna put it in the ceiling. Let's see some bombs. Let's give him something different and make him fight a bomb chorizo fight.
Yeah, bombs could indicate a slower seed as well. I mean, it doesn't always mean it, but it kind of makes it a little bit more likely.
Well, it certainly did in the regular season when we were playing on the randomized speed, but now, of course, with the variable speed, not entirely sure that means as much. We haven't seen enough of them to really get a feel for that. I don't think, at least I haven't. But yeah, in the regular season, I always hated to see bombs before power bombs because it usually meant your power bombs weren't coming anytime soon.
Yeah, that's very true. That did lead to a lot of power bombs somewhere in Lower Norfair or in Upper Norfair, excuse me.
Oh, power bombs in Lower Norfolk would be a problem.
That would be too, yeah, a little impossible.
Okay, so we got our morph ball. Let's see if they check the ammo item here first. I always like to do that because that way I know exactly what I have before I leave the next room. And they are both checking the ammo item. And there are those power bombs, so we won't be searching for those.
Yeah, and usually when I see them go down for the first item, I always talk about how, maybe that'll make it Billy Mays check. But even if they don't find supers, I don't expect either runner to go to Billy Mays.
No, I don't either. I have played a seed where Billy Mays was required, but those are very rare.
I have raced 2 seeds this season where Billy Mays was required.
Nice. And there are super missiles right there, so we don't have to worry about it. And the more interesting question, I saw Zoast practicing a little meme route. We'll see if he does that. He does do that on occasion.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed. I mean, I think in the Toasty Azure matches, I think one of them, if not both of them, did it
Both.
every race. I think the best.
Both did it every race, yes. Okay, they're both at least going to pick up the ammo item.
Perfectly synced going through past old morph ball.
Oh, and Sloaters already indicate he is going to go meme route. We don't see that from Sloaters so much. And double meme route. So the biggest risk going this direction is if they get speed booster later. If they get speed booster later, then they'll skip waterway already, and then they have to figure out whether or not to go back for it. It's not as much of a risk. They don't know this, but it's not as much of a risk since they're both going that way. So they'll both have to make that decision.
Yeah, that's true, and I think it's going to be pretty rare for them to want to come back. They'd almost have to be missing something else, which at this point,
Oh, absolutely. And
got a wave beam at charge location. She'll make that wave gate nice and easy here for
yeah. And this early in the game, looks like they're both go. Nope, Zoast are already skipping missiles. Sloaters picking the pack up.
Now, unless they get a power bomb drop, I think both runners will have to go visit the fire fleas before they can head down to Etikun.
Absolutely, they'll need the power bomb they have. Oh,
just kidding.
And they're my bombs. So now they'll be able to bomb their way through instead of using a power bomb to get through the next room. They can save that power bomb to get down to the Etikuns. And to answer the question about Zoast, Zoast is known for doing meme routes some of the time. He definitely doesn't do it all the time. Generally in randomizers, you don't want to always do the same thing because then your opponent knows what you're doing. And another question in chat about bomb chorizo. Yeah, the only time there is bomb chorizo skip, you need to have a PAL cartridge and set up to do that. So that's not going to happen in a randomizer setting. So yeah, the door will close. Bomb chorizo will happen. They will have to do that fight. That's of course assuming they remember to go there. We have seen runners skip it before. In particular, in a match where we had a runner skip it when it was Ice Beam and completely didn't realize he'd skipped it until we told him afterwards.
Yeah, not much of a fight at this point with the super missiles,
No,
but they'll have
not
to
at all.
go at least for a visit and a beatdown.
And just an E-tank at Edakuns. But that'll be nice. One of the advantages to going this way is that they can be much more guaranteed and much safer if they want to go to Gauntlet. And now with 10 power bombs, they can go there if they want.
And we saw both runners practicing CWJ before the race.
Yeah, we did.
But I think they're both very capable of bomb jumping across the moat too, so that's a nice little backup for them to find this early to be able to complete the meme route by going direction.
Yeah, Zoast pretty much exclusively runs new route. Sloaters runs both, so both are more than familiar with both the CWJ and the horizontal bomb jump.
And a little indication from Sloaters that he's going to go for a reverse mock ball out of here, going and getting that minor item first.
Let's see if either of them chooses to grab that reserve tank.
And we have resynced based on the decision Sloater of deciding that it is important enough to him. Zoast is going to skip out on the reserve. And Zoast also possibly forgetting a little bit about the soft lock prevention, going ahead and bombing out of that little minor location under.
Yeah, fortunately, you just used bombs for that. Yeah, there are minor soft lock preventions in a lot of the earlier places, designed basically around the fact that you don't have bombs like you normally would in the game, or not guaranteed to have bombs like you normally would in the game. That being one of them.
And it's definitely done me in. Like when I started playing combo, I would very frequently get soft locked in places because of that kind of stuff. We got a second reserve tank at the end of Terminator. That Zoast isn't going to skip on this one. He goes to jump over it, changes his mind midair.
Yeah, and the reason to pick it up isn't even so much that he wants the reserve tank, is he knows that he's going to most likely forget that item is still there when he comes back. And at that point in time, you don't want to be losing time to a reserve tank that you didn't pick up. Whereas at least if you pick it up, it might come in handy at some point during the run. And both remember to go to Bomb Chorizo, and what are we going to find? Plasma!
Beam.
Ooh, a nice beam. And I guess the nice beam is the ice beam, but this is plasma, and plasma's great. Actually, you could probably, yeah, you don't even need to use supers here. Just use your plasma beam. It'll be still be a very short fight. Sloater's still setting up with those super missiles, though. 2 shots will do it. And I suspect both of them will go to Gauntlet. A pretty safe Gauntlet, 2 E-tanks, 10 power bombs available to them.
Yeah, of course, regular bombs as well. Sloaters, though, looks to be opening up the entrance.
Oh, looks like Sloaters is not going to go to Gauntlet.
Or refill or save, so hopefully that doesn't come back to bite him.
And Zoast as well. You know, it's always funny when you see people go these same exact routes, especially when they're more risky like this. I am surprised that we aren't seeing a Gauntlet check. That jump does not look good for CWJ, so he's probably going to have to go ahead and do the horizontal. Oh, and Zoast is looking pretty good on his. It's harder to tell when there's the item still there. Sloater's getting the horizontal bomb jump first try. Zoast doesn't get the CWJ. Forgetting that is also a shot block. Although at this point, when you already have bombs, it really doesn't matter in the end. Oh, misses the horizontal bomb jump this time.
always feel awkward when these situations happen because like I can CWJ more because of determination than skill, and I can't IBJ at all. So it feels weird when you're like, I missed that one again. You're like the thing I
Yeah, I can IVJ, I can't HBJ.
yeah, same
And I know
here.
that's what you mean, but yeah,
That's right. I'm sorry.
he was working on that earlier, and he wasn't doing great on it. So yeah, this is definitely gonna be. But he wasn't working on the horizontal bomb jump because you know you don't necessarily expect to have the bombs to do it. Meanwhile, Sloater's in his Fantoon fight. But you know, I always say, you know, sometimes I don't care how good you are. Sometimes those tricks they just leave you, and it just goes to show it's true of everybody.
Yeah, gate glitching especially comes to mind talking about
Yeah,
that
that's a
kind
big
of
one.
stuff.
Yep. Sloater's already done with Fantoon.
Yeah, it's an incredible Fantoon fight.
Yeah, that Fantoon fight, I mean, he's got 2 E-tanks and 2 reserves. So energy shouldn't be too much of an issue, and it's certainly more than you'd have in a new route situation where you have 1 tank, no reserves, and no suits. But it's still a pretty scary fight because with no suits, there's a lot of damage to be had.
Yeah, especially if you get Sunrise surprised by him.
Okay, let's see what's at those right side supers. Just an E-tank. And this is, so just so y'all know, since we often have on speed game, we often have people there watching this either for the first time or don't watch this as often. This is a major minor split. So majors randomized with majors, minors randomized with minors. The one exception being that item that Sloaters just picked up. Those right side supers are changed to an energy tank to make the wreck ship a little bit more enticing. And that switch with the E tank that would normally be at the high jump boots is now an ammo item.
Zoast also having a very nice 2-round against Fantoon.
Okay, so this is another tricky spot, early wreck ship. This bomb jump is by no means easy and by no means free. At least they do have bombs as a choice here. The other choice would be to do this with power bombs. None of their items that they currently have is going to help them here, except those bombs. Ooh, Sloaters looked like he was close there. Almost.
And this is another one of those tricks that's sometimes more determination than skill as far
Yeah.
as people get.
Oh, he gets it.
There he goes. Very nice.
Zoast is going to have to do the same thing. And he gets it right away. So that'll close the gap a little bit. Both making their way through Spiky Room of Death, which is called that for a reason, especially with no suits, a very dangerous room. Oh, Sloater's missing that last jump. These spikes don't do nearly the damage, but they do have those fish in the way, and those fish do a lot of damage. You gotta watch out for them. Oh, and charge beam! Oh my god. Even if they don't find a suit here, this is gonna be worth, because now they don't have to pick up nearly so much ammo. In fact, a 2020 for Zoast and a 3515 for Sloaters, they really don't need any more ammo if they don't want to pick it up.
No, and both runners very capable of either a speed or ice skip on the Zebatite.
And in fact, keep in mind with the ammo totals, in an 80% run, typically you'd go 2010 or even 1510. So yeah, 2020 and 3515 way more than you'd get in any percent. And as we said earlier, these guys are both very well versed in any percent. Sloater is taking a little bit of damage from that spiky room, but he does manage to get out. Unfortunately, between the fall in the E-tank room not so clean a spiky room of death on the way back, and having trouble getting that bomb jump. Zoast is taking a bit of a lead here. That plasma beam making the attic a much safer place. Okay, let's see what we have. And space jump at the reserve tank area. Well, not a needed item,
No, not for these guys especially.
especially
But
for these guys, but it would be a nice item to have. They're not going to get it unless the speed booster is there, and they might not even choose to pick it up even if speed booster is at gravity. So we'll see what happens.
yeah, even if speed's at gravity, I don't see either runner turning around for it.
And the one thing to keep in mind, though, is the space jump, while never required, high jump could be hidden in a place that they're never going to get to. So they might be just without those movement items, which does make things like lower Norfair trickier. They do have bombs, so they can do IBJs to get out of some of the rooms, like worst room in the game, and out of the screw attack room. But space jump just makes those much, much faster. Now, the worst place to not have space or high jump is if they have to go to Shack Tool. Trying to get into that room without the space jump or the high jump boots is just crazy bad.
Yeah, this seed's really setting up for some interesting development, because at this point, if they find both suits, they're probably in go mode, but minus maybe one more set of power bombs or ice. If they find high jump boots, grapple, and Varia, they also could be go mode, expecting to do a full suitless Meridian.
Good news is the space jump only makes a small difference if they do a full suitless Meridian in that Coliseum area, and it's not needed at that point. Just would be a nice luxury if they do go there. Okay, Zoe's still not going to check Gauntlet. Let's see if Sloaters does the same. I actually expect Sloaters to do the same. If you're going to do Gauntlet, you're going to do it on the way. It's much easier to route in at that point than it is to route now. So yes, looks like Sloaters is also going down.
Looks like we're going to see a pretty early X-ray. I don't think it's quite in logic yet. Maybe it is with the reserves that Zoast passed.
Yeah, 6 E-tanks, but and bombs would put
And
it
bombs.
in logic. Yep. The thing is, though, as much as it takes that kind of thing to get it in logic, if you just do the math and figure out what items you can check before this, you almost always can have a lot more E-tanks before doing this check. And of course, Zoast doesn't even need all that stuff. It's Spazer. He doesn't want that. He does it with just deboost, and it looks like Sloaters is going to do the same thing. Also perfectly capable of doing this with deboost. And seeing as how Sloaters has nothing in his reserve tank is much more dangerous for him at this point. And one of the things about this room, when you do it early, is there's no good place to save and reset to it. Floater's also skipping that Spazer beam. So no menus of shame today to turn it off. If Sloaters takes enough damage here, maybe he'll use his own refill at the bottom of Red Tower. Okay, and Spazer has Grapple Beam.
Yeah, part of that full suitless combination of items that we were looking for that I was talking about a little earlier.
Yep,
but also very versatile for farm.
Yep, we would need high jump and ice to do full suitless at this point, and Spring Ball, of course, would make a Mama Turtle in logic and also make things a lot easier, or give them more choices how to move around. Nice entry into the Kraid's lair area by Zoast. Always like it when you see that.
Yeah, Sloaters is in a bit of a tough spot. I mean, despite he's an excellent runner, but you're kind of in Zoast's wheelhouse at this point with if you're going to just be running in the same exact pattern as he is.
Yep.
So, not that he knows it, of course, but like something like a risky croc check if there's nothing going on in Kraid would be the kind of play that he might be able to pull ahead with.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't know that like they're both probably feeling somewhat behind because neither one knows that the other did meme route. And we didn't see anything at the wreck shift that was actually worth. I mean, charge beam. I mean, that's a huge find, but the rest of this wreck ship was not. So.
Just a reserve tank after Kraid.
And that's reserve number 3. And at this point, there's no reason to take it. I mean, yeah, it could, for some of us, if it was me, I'd take it because no Varia suit and Hell Run's coming up. But these guys don't need them for Hell Runs. 4 E-Tanks puts the Cathedral Hell Run in logic. But these guys both are well versed in RBO strats. In a typical RBO run, you probably only have, unless you're Zenny and you're doing the moon dance and getting stuff early, you're only going to have 2 E-Tanks and 1 reserve when you go into that Hell Run through Cathedral. So they're actually used to far less than what they have.
X-ray in the ceiling, the Kraid E-Tank.
Yep, and that's a nice find at this point. Since they already have charge and plasma, that's going to open up the microwave beam that we'll see when they go to Meridia. And the very cool mock ball X by Zoast, and he heads down to Norfair. And similar exit by Sloaters. Zoast's going to check the high jump boots first. Sloaters almost certainly going to do that first since his energy is not very good. He does not have enough currently to do the ice beam check. Oh boy, gravity suit.
That is a big find.
Yeah, and it begs the question, will either one of these guys go straight to Meridia instead of doing the Norfair checks first? Either one or both. So that's a good question, Siberian. Our tracker, I want to shout him out real quick because having a good tracker for us is huge when trying to do these commentaries. Yeah, I don't know why Sloaters turned his beams off, but he might want him. He might have wanted them off to do the setup for the Kraid quick kill. He might have it might be easier for him to do it with just a regular pea shooter. Okay, Sloaters still with low energy, really not up. Really can't do a Hell Run yet. So he's either gonna have to farm up or choose a different direction. It's like he's gonna farm. I'd kind of like to see him do gravity suit, take advantage of that gravity suit and go into Meridia and see what he can find there.
Yeah, definitely would be a good time for him to do something like that so he doesn't spend so much time farming. But I also know that Sloaters likes to play percentages, so I don't really think that that's what he's anticipating doing, but I guess we'll see.
He's going to take a chance and go ahead and do the ice Hell Run. He does have enough because he will get the E-Tank, but he doesn't know that, so... Looks like he did take a safety save, though.
Zoast was really close to getting that reverse mock ball through there without ice beam.
Okay, is Zoast going to do the Cathedral Hell Run? The worst part of this Hell Run is the last room. These first two rooms are not too bad. Plasma Beam will help him out, and also the Gravity Suit makes it a lot easier. Sloater's getting the nice Mock Ball exit from ice. All right, Zoast makes it to Bubble Mountain. Looks like he's not going to take a safety save here. I'm going to start with that speed booster. The nice thing here is you get that nice little free bug refill.
Yeah, very suspiciously conveniently placed.
Yeah, I've always, people joke about Deer Force New and the way things are set up, but I fully think that they did put things in a way to make running around without Various Suit in Norfair, both in upper and lower, useful, doable. I don't agree with that statement when it comes to the Meridia portion of RBO. There's too many glitchy things you need to do to get through that. It looks like Sloaters is going to do a croc bet, so we'll see. Hopefully there's something there for him. And just an energy tank at the speed booster area. I especially like this croc check because you do have the charge and the plasma beam, so Sloaters will be able to make very quick work of Ranomizer here. And as you can see, one shot.
Yeah, the only room that's going to give him a little bit of trouble is getting into grapple. He's either going to have to do a green gate glitch or use an IBJ to get up to that. But, of course, not really much of an issue, but a minor inconvenience at this point for Sloaters.
Oh, dang.
Well, that is the big payoff.
That is definitely a thing.
So he maybe doesn't go to grapple. He might just see if he can find Speed Booster or Ice and Lower Norfair at this point.
Yeah, it's an interesting question because, one, he does need the Speed Booster or Ice Beam eventually, although Sloaters does know how to Crystal Flash Clip. I don't know how good at it he is. And he will have to do a high jumpless Lava Dive if he wants to go down to Lower Norfair right now. So it would be a risky play. He does have bombs to get through worst room of the game, and he does have also to get out of the screw attack room, so he can get through all of it. But the one thing about leaving that grapple item behind is if it is something useful, there's no good way to route it back in.
Yeah, that's very true. And when you're this close, it's definitely, might as well just go get it now.
Okay, doesn't spend too much time on the green gate glitch. Okay, Zoast taking a save after finding an E-Tank in that last reserve. So now it looks like he's going to check the reserve tank item, which won't be a reserve because we've now seen all four. And screw attack.
That's one of my favorite luxury items.
That is the ultimate luxury item. Not really needed for anything unless you don't have power bombs to start the game. And just host finding Speed Booster. So finally something in Bubble Mountain. But Speed Booster is not going to make a huge difference in Lower Norfair. I fully expect that Sloaters can do the high jumpless Lava Dive, and I suspect that's where he's going to head. Actually, he doesn't need to do the Lava Dive. He can just do this with the gravity jump. A little harder without high jump, but still more than doable. And this actually fully in logic.
This could also swerve Zoast into heading to Meridia, knowing that he can complete it and check all the locations. So we'll see what he decides to do here.
And if Sloaters doesn't find Ice Beam in Lower Norfair, I have no doubt he will check these Bubble Mountain items and get that Speed Booster, which would then put him in go mode. But it looks like Zoast is going to do the croc bet as well. Or maybe he's just refilling, so he is going to go. Maybe he is going to go to Meridia. That's really good for Sloaters because Zoast is not going to find the Various Suit in Meridia. So this could take up a lot of time, depending on just how much he decides to check in Meridia. Floater's getting that gravity jump first try. Not gonna take the safety save.
He might decide to orphan GT.
He might. Which turns out would be okay. I mean, it could be his Ice Beam, but could also be High Jump Boost or Spring Ball, which would be really nice items for him to find. Nope, he's just gonna skip it. It is kind of a slow check. The biggest reason why he would save, it wouldn't even be so much a safety save, but a save and reset possibility. Since if he didn't find anything, it's probably quicker to save and reset than to IBJ. If you have something like Space Jump, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, I would agree with you there if he had Space Jump.
Oh, and he's gonna go for the Pixel Perfect Wall Jump here. He got it in a run last night in practice, so we'll see if he can get it again today. At some point, let's see how long he tries for this, and then he can always go back to the IBJ if he needs to. Oh, he
Wow.
gets nicely done, Sloaters. And probably took about the same time an IBJ would have taken.
Which really just speaks volumes to these runners, because I know Zoast probably would try the same thing for the same amount of time. It's incredibly hard.
Yeah, there was a runner last summer, and I won't shout out his name, that spent something like 40 minutes trying to do that in a weekly race. Feels bad when you spend that much time on something and you can't get it. Okay, Zo's gonna go to Batwoon, and we'll get to see the first instance of microwaving. Basically, it's because Plasma has piercing properties. He can use that X-ray scope as a buffer for it. It only takes 4 shots to kill. No, actually, it might be 5 shots without Ice Beam, but it's a pretty quick number of shots, and you can buffer it pretty easily by using that X-ray scope. Batwoon's already down. It looks like Zoast just ran past Spring Ball, so we'll see if he goes back and grabs it on his way back. Spring Ball not going to help him in the Dragon fight, so it's a little less of a time sink to pick it up afterwards, I think.
Some really fun strats being shown off by Zoast here, using the iframes and your grapple beam and a grapple.
Yeah, that grapple beam, actually the intended way you're supposed to get through that room. Although, of course, not the way Zoast did it. Usually you're using grapple beam and grapple beam only. Also the worst way to get through that room, by the way. And with this beam combination, this will take 24 shots on Ridley, since he doesn't have ice. And Zo's doing the microwave on Dragon, and you'll notice he's kneeling down. On the Dragon fight, as soon as Dragon's dead, Samus will be forced up into a standing position. So by kneeling like that, you can know exactly when Dragon is down. Okay, let's see if there's anything good behind Dragon. Like High Jump Boots would be really nice or something like that. And just an E-Tank. And with 7 E-Tanks, Zoe says, I don't need those.
Yeah, both Dragon and Ridley harboring energy tank.
Okay, so now the question is Zoast going to head back down to Croc? Or is he going to do all the Meridia checks? Unfortunately for him, the only way he has a chance in this race, I think, is if he does head to Croc. Or gets enough. And he didn't take the one thing I will point out with him not taking that E-Tank. In the back of his mind, he could be thinking in terms of a variolous lower Norfair. Something Zoast is more than capable of doing. Of course, we do have to keep in mind his ammo count is not nearly enough. He doesn't have power bombs. So with only 10 power bombs, he doesn't even have one crystal flash, let alone the 2 you'd really want to have before doing Variolous Lower Norfair, and he skips that spring ball. Sorry guys, no run validated for Zoast today. He will check the sand pit, I suspect. I like the sand pit check. I do hope that he doesn't do Shack Tool and Plasma Beam. A little bit surprised he's taking this save, since if he goes down to the sand pit, it'll take him right to either Shack or Plasma, or straight down to Lower Norfair. So I don't think he saves anything by taking that save. Typically, you'll see that if a runner is going to go to Dragon. And Sloaters found high jump boots with Fire Flea, so Zos is not going to get those either. And just an E-Tank at the sand pit.
He did find see another power bomb pack, but looks like after maybe falling, not planning on going back for it.
Oh, okay. So are we going to Plasma? Or are we going to Shack Tool? We're going to Shack Tool.
That was awesome short charge, though.
Yeah, it was. Okay, so this is a really interesting check now. You can't get up there in a normal fashion without high jump boots or space jump. There are a few different ways he could do this. He can do this with bomb jumping. He can do this, if he'd kept the spring ball, he could have done it with the spring ball jump. You can do it with a gravity jump. You can do it with an x-ray climb. A bunch of, as Sloaters put it in his commentary last week, a bunch of really dumb ways to do a thing. Not quite, to paraphrase Sloaters, I should say. Oh, he gets the gravity jump. Nicely done. The hard part about it is that the sand is constantly pushing you down. So in order to get that jump, he had to time it so that the sand wasn't pushing him down at that moment. And he manages to do it pretty quickly, so this won't be as much of a time sink as it could have been. Unfortunately, it is Shack Tool, so it just takes long normally. Okay, Sloaters is going to do his Bubble Mountain checks. He's going to be disappointed by the first 2 items, but he'll be happy to find that speed booster for the 3rd item. That'll put him in go mode. I don't think we're going to, unless Zos finds Ice Beam here or at Plasma, I don't think we're going to see Ice Beam. It'd be funny if it was at Gauntlet.
Yeah, depending on what we see in the rest of Meridia, I mean, we're really looking at either those 2 checks or Gauntlet and Waterway again. Oh, yep. And GT. We didn't see GT.
Yeah, we didn't see GT. Oh, there it is. So it's a good thing Sloaters is about to find his speed booster, because he's not going to get Ice Beam. Well, I mean, he could go over there and get that Ice Beam. It'd be a lot easier for him with high jump boots. But that's quite a bit out of the way, and I know that's not a location he wants to go to if he can avoid it. And getting out of that little hole is a little bit tricky again without high jump boots, since you're expected to have high jump and spring ball to get out of there. So you have to do a little bit of an Alcatraz-like wall jump into a morph ball.
Yeah, I find the second jump, like that, what is it? It's like 5 morph ball Samuses large.
Yeah.
I find that one a little bit harder without spring ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and unfortunately for Zos, he's going to head up to Plasma. And at this point, I don't think there's anything left to find.
Nope, we know where everything is, except for maybe the last reserve.
Nope, we've seen all 4 reserves.
Okay.
So this is just going to be an E-Tank. And he even grabs the E-Tank. He was really hoping for that various suit there, I think. Yeah, he gets the nice short charge to get out. So the other choice would have been do an infinite bomb jump, which is of course much slower if you can get that short charge right away. And Zoast, I think, knows now that actually, he does still have a choice to make. And hopefully he makes the right one. That various suit, to his knowledge, that various suit could still be at Waterway. So hopefully he bets on Croc instead. But I suspect if he does bet on Croc, he's not going to get the screw attack. He'll just get the various suit and just head right over to Lower Norfair. Because he's otherwise in go mode.
Nice full halfie by Sloaters.
Oh, and a nice short charge to get through the sand room here. Sand physics being the worst in my opinion.
Alright, Sloater's gonna grab himself a spike suit here.
And then we'll see some more microwave action. And Dragon is down. Sloater's going to check the item just in case it's Ice Beam, but of course we know it's not. Okay, Zoast making the correct decision on checking Ranomizer. And that makes more sense. If you have to go all the way to Waterway and back, that's quite a ways away. You hope that it's at one of the Croc items, because then you're much closer to Lower Norfair. And Sloater's picking up his favorite item, Spring Ball, on his way out of Dragon, so he gets to validate his run.
Yeah, not surprised at all to see him.
No surprise. Considering his sub badge is a Spring Ball, so... Oh, and Zoast having a little grapple beam fun with Ranomizer, as we see that.
Croc lose his tongue in the air.
Yeah, that's... You were not supposed to ever be here without grapple beam, so there's some weird things that grapple can do to Ranomizer. Zoast picking up his various suit, he'll head straight to Lower Norfair. At this point, he's got to feel way behind.
The only remaining item check we might see on Sloater's side is Gauntlet, maybe just kind of hoping for ice, but I doubt that he goes up.
Yeah, I doubt it. It's still enough out of the way. And the fact that he did wreck ship first, he's got to, in the back of his mind, be thinking that if Zoast had gone down first, that Zoast could be dot-dunning any moment now.
Yeah, that's very true.
Ooh, nice. And Zoast getting that short charge, so just go Shine Spec straight across this spike room. It's a very tricky short charge to get. Oh, and gets the lava spark, so nicely done there. So it doesn't even have to do the gravity jump. And Sloater's showing why Spring Ball is still cool, even if you don't have to use it for the so-called Spring Ball jumps. Now, without Ice Beam, he will have to power bomb the Metroids. He's got 15 power bombs. You only need 12, so he's got more than enough. Zoast also going to skip GT, which is good because we know it has to be an E-Tank at this point. Looks like Zoast is going to use some low percent ice strats to get up. Basically, the idea being freeze this space pirate on the right place, then you can either wall jump off of him, or you can just jump right off of him. Having a little bit of trouble setting it up, though. Oh, and misses it. Meanwhile, Sloater's making nice use of that spring ball, sort of jump roping around the Metroids.
And he does have a reason to want to keep his health high, having all the proper tools to do an optimal baby skip.
Okay, Zo's giving up on the Ice Beam strats and going to just do a double bomb jump up worst room in the game. We'll head into Amphitheater. Actually, kind of ironically, this room is a big pain when you don't have space jump or high jump, except for this one little spot right here where you're kind of going up these stairs. I feel like those little stairs he's going up right now are kind of more meant for not having high jump boots. Ooh, nice use of the Ice Beam to get that jump up and save a little bit of time there.
Yeah, a lot of these little anomalies in the game do make me wonder exactly how good the developers got at maneuvering Samus, and if they knew about all this stuff. Not all of it, but at least
anything movement based, I totally buy them thinking about ahead of time. It's some of these glitches that I just can't imagine they found, and that's where, like I say, I fully think that the stuff in Lower Norfair was stuff they did think about.
I even wonder about the glitches, because they might have known about them and went, yeah, but who's going to take the time to figure this?
Yeah, it was the 90s, you know? I mean, like, for instance, one glitch that had to have been known about is Green Gate glitch, since the GT code would be useless without it. Alright, Sloater's doing a very nice speed Zep skip. Since it's the only Zep skip he has available to him, unless you count what I like to call the Zep skip, which is just doing the vanilla strat and using your ammo. Zoast entering his Ridley fight. Zoast will have a 20-shot Ridley fight, whereas Sloaters without the Ice Beam will have a 24-shot Mother Brain fight. Both Ridley and Mother Brain having 18,000 HP of 18,000 HP.
I'm sure both runners feeling super behind right now, particularly Zoast.
Especially Zoast, but yeah, I mean, Sloaters, again, has to be wondering where Zoast is. You know, the old, if I went up, if you went down.
Yeah, these runners are 1 and 2 in our fastest times in the league standing, both having like, what, 42s or something?
Yep. And Sloaters' only loss was to Zoast earlier in the season. Sloaters being the 1 seed, Zoast being number 16. And Zoast decides to take the Ridley energy tank. Figures might as well take the time since I've already looked at it, because I'm only got 3 E-tanks of energy. Which actually seems lower than it is, because in any percent run, that's what he would have if he was at full, and of course he wouldn't have the reserve tanks. This way he doesn't have to play it quite as safe. We'll see if Zoast decides to check Fire Fleas. And this is another room where not having high jump boots actually makes a big difference. Instead of being able to just jump straight up, you do have to do some wall jumps to get through that. And of course, you have to avoid the spikes. It's not particularly hard, but it is something that just makes it just that much more difficult.
And just missing a couple ledges there, I think, kind of starting to show his sloaters is going to be done anytime now. You know, just playing in the back of his head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's rough when you play these with randomizers. You don't get to know what your opponent's doing.
I think that's one of the interesting things about playing the randomizer, though, is that I could play it, like, if I played it perfectly and I was like, man, I made all the right decisions, I always assumed my opponent did too.
Yeah,
And when
absolutely.
I made all the wrong decisions, I always assumed my opponent made all the right decisions. So it doesn't take much to just feel behind no matter
No,
what caliber.
absolutely. Yeah, in fact, we had an example of that when Ponk and Maniacal were playing yesterday, where they both were making a lot of really good decisions. And unfortunately, just, for Maniacal, on execution, Ponk was just that much better. Sloater's getting the nice behemoth spark. All right, and Sloater's finishing off with an official SRL time of 52:05. GG to Sloaters. And Zoast deciding to quit. No surprise there. In the regular season, you do get a point for finishing, but in postseason, there's no reason to finish other than pride. And they do have another race to play, so Zoast probably figuring that let's just get the next race going.
Yeah, there's also not a lot. I mean, in some other competitions, you might see a team that's really far behind using the leftover time to strategize what they're going to do in the next run, but not in this sense. There's not a lot of reason to do anything like that.
So we saw where all the items were, so the credits aren't going to illuminate us on anything.
Now we don't even get to wonder what the speed was because now it's always variable.
It's always variable, yeah. So hopefully, yeah, we'll get a nice game 3 action. So for those of you that want a game 3, you'll have to root for Zoast to win. Game 3 would be really fun. All right, so we'll go ahead and let those credits play, and then we're going to take a break here. We're not going to do interviews in between races this time, so we're going to go ahead and take a break, get these guys set up for game 2, and we will be back as soon as that's all set up.
Yeah, hang tight, everyone. We'll be back in a few.